What happened, Arm? We're good? How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm good. I'm good.
What happened?
Oh man, my phone died. Echo told me this morning that no, he told me around 3:00. Hey, you got an interview tonight. And I was like, who knows what I was doing at the time. And I was like, okay.
We were actually genuinely worried about you.
No, my phone died around 6:00. I sold a car that I've been driving.
Uh-huh.
So I'm driving a new car and I forgot the charger wasn't in there.
Oh, shoot. Because we started the show and we were like, all right. Echo told us, he's like, bro, I'm calling him. He's not answering. He's like, here's a screenshot. I got 17 missed calls. And we're like, shit. Now we're like genuinely worried. Like, is he okay?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna be all right.
All right. So for those of you tuning,
you know what he's been through. You think he's
this is weird. Hey, yeah. The stuff I'm going through right now is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Only problems I got right now is money.
Really?
Yeah. Them the only problems I got right now.
Oh, shoot.
Everything else is
well. For those of you tuning in, the man sitting to our right is the real Rick Ross.
Yes,
the real Rick Ross. For those of you that don't know, I mean,
where they been under a rock?
Well, yeah, they've
because I've been everywhere. I mean, no, not everywhere, but man, I just went to Waterloo, Iowa. You ever heard of Waterloo, Iowa?
I've heard of it. Haven't been
Actually, I
there.
have heard of Waterloo. I've never been there, but I've heard of Waterloo.
I had never heard of it before.
What were you doing there?
I spoke. It was a great time. I had a great time in Waterloo. Real quiet, no sirens, no helicopters.
So you do a lot of speaking engagements, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
quite
good.
a few. Just left Cleveland, Ohio this weekend, and it was different. I mean, this was probably the biggest, the best turnout I ever had. I mean, they showed so much love, man. It was like crazy. I'm like, wow, you never dreamed that. I never dreamed that that it would be like this, you know.
Yeah, because the first time I heard about you, somebody was like, "Hey, Rick Ross is out of jail." I'm like, "Oh shit, when did Rick Ross go to jail?" And they're like, "What are you talking about, man?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" And they're like, "No, man, you got it all twisted. The real Rick Ross is out of jail." And I'm like, "What the fuck you guys talking about, bro?" I'm like, what do you mean? Who is the real Rick Ross?
Yeah, who is the fake Rick Ross?
Well, yeah, and it's funny on Rogan's podcast, you actually talk about it where you Rogan inspired you to print a shirt that said the real Rick Ross isn't a rapper.
Yeah, that was yep.
So tell us a little bit about yourself as far as how you got involved with this entire drug ring, man, because you got a hell of a story.
Yeah, and it's getting crazier too. I mean, like, this shit is just like I be telling people I don't even want to talk about that old shit, right? Like that shit was peanuts, you know. Like, yeah, so what? I made $3 million in one day, and
that's peanuts.
You know, for 2 years I made $1 million every single day. But this shit that's in my head right now, I'm like, fuck, how do I get this shit out? Right? Like, it's like just. So and I can't sleep and you know I just want to go and make this shit, make it materialize so that I can relax. You know, like when I was in prison I read 300 books. You know, I studied some of the most powerful people in this country, and I feel like I took pieces and bits of their success stories and I came up with a business plan.
You were in prison for almost 21 years, but prior to, right?
Yeah.
But prior to going to prison, you didn't even know how to read or write.
No.
How old were you when you went to prison?
28.
28. So you did not know how to read.
I had a nice run. I had a nice run in the dope game.
prime years, man.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I wasted a bunch of my life, you know. I fucked up, you know.
What's fascinating to me is at the age of 28, you taught yourself how to read in prison.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I look back, right? Because I always thought that I was just dumb to school. School is not gonna be your thing. You either catch a football, dribble a basketball, hit a baseball or hit a tennis ball. It's gonna be sports. You're gonna get out of the ghetto with sports. That's gonna be your way out, and that's how it is. Was no other options. I didn't want no other options. That's what I wanted. So I never really took to school. I mean, I was like, the hell I care about Jack and Jill? What the hell they going up the hill for? I don't care. I'm trying to get some money. We grew up very poor. On welfare, and um, my mom had brought in three of my cousins who mom and dad got killed, and it really put a strain on her. Where she didn't have money to do some of the things that some of the other kids in school had, and I resented that. I resented being poor. I'm talking about, like, I despise being poor. She would send me to the store with food stamps, and I would have to hide till everybody left the store so I could go to the store and spend the food stamps. I mean, I did not like handouts. I was no, not me.
Wow. So
And this is when I was like 10 and 11 years old. I was like that.
when did you get involved in, like, was it gangs that you got involved in? Was it drug rings that you got involved in? At what age was
all
it
of
that
that,
you?
all of that. It all goes together. Gangs, drugs,
But how do you go
pimps,
from?
prostitutes,
How do you go from?
murderers. All of those. Just it's like a big ball. That you get into this ball, and you just start meeting all these characters. And
Because to do the numbers you were doing, I mean, you're almost like a Fortune 500 company.
people say that, but I don't think you have to be that smart to sell drugs. I mean,
Well, it's not necessarily about, maybe not book smart, but you have to have street smarts. I mean, $3 million a day, and we're talking about cash. We're not talking about EFT transfers, wire transfers, credit card transactions.
well,
We're talking about
I believe
cash.
the first thing you have to do is like people. See, if you can like people, then you can do anything that people do, because people have a genuine thing about people who genuinely like them. Not that phony, oh when you see the cameras rolling
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
then you just like, you faking. I really like people. One of the hardest things for me when I went to jail was to be in isolation. I hated being in isolation. I hated being in a cell by myself with nobody to talk to, nobody to throw ideas off of. That was really tough for me. I had to get used to being by myself. Um,
Were you in your prison cell for 23 hours a day, or?
for a while, sometimes.
And the only time you had, let's say, yard time was just an hour a day?
Yeah. You get yard 3 times a week. That's mandatory. They have to give you that. You get a shower every other day. Some places, you get to shower every day. Like, yay, a shower every day.
Jeez, man.
But sometimes you get a shower, 3 showers a week. When you get direct, you get a shower. Other than that, you don't get the shower. It's not a playground. I'll be honest with you. Um, I don't wish prison on anybody, but for me, prison became kind of like a caterpillar. You know how the caterpillar has to go into a
Cocoon.
cocoon to get its wings. So I go in there, I'm crawling on the ground, and I'm doing groundly things, and then I wind up going to prison, and I come out and I got wings. Now I'm soaring.
See, going back a little bit as far as your childhood, I know you mentioned mom was helping raise you and your cousins, right?
Right.
Was there a father figure in the house?
Mom got married a couple times. She got married a couple times, but I was the man in the house. Like, what you doing here, dude? You don't run nothing here.
So you were kicking the boys out, basically.
Like, you ain't running nothing here. Me and her husband got into it a few times.
Oh, because a lot of times psychologists talk about this all the time. They say that when there's a lack of a father figure, a lot of the children go out and they seek a father figure,
Absolutely.
and they seek it through
And even if you got the father figure that you don't approve of,
Oh, yeah, even
you
that,
don't like
man.
him, you don't think that he's cool, like I got 2 babies right now, and I'm really hoping that they think I'm cool, right? I try hard to be cool with them, and they always tell me, Dad, no.
Boys, girls,
I got a boy and a girl.
nice. To best of both worlds, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? I didn't raise my other kids, which is one of the things that I regret.
Yeah.
I just want to mold them and twist them and turn them. Both of them play tennis, and my daughter is my son is good too. But he's a goofer. He's probably going to wind up being the tennis comedian.
Oh,
Like I ain't no telling what he might do on the tennis court when he gets old enough to where he.
but your daughter's good.
My daughter's good. She's good.
How old is your daughter?
12.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Because you were a very good tennis player yourself.
I was fair, I was pretty good. I could beat some pretty good people. I beat a couple guys that made it in the top 100 in the world. Matter of fact, one of the guys that's teaching my daughter and my son, Troy Collins, he played number 1 on our tennis team, and I was the only guy to beat him our senior year in high school. And he went on to be like one of the top college players in the country, and went on the circuit and so forth.
Because tennis is an expensive sport to excel in.
Very,
right. You need a lot of private coaching, a lot of one-on-one time.
Especially when your mom's on welfare. And
Yeah.
she's like, boy, you better play football.
Oh, jeez. It's like, don't break your rackets, because those rackets are expensive as well.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're involved in your kid's life right now. Well, the two, your boy and your girl right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the children that you had with?
We
prior
cool.
to-
We cool. I wasn't there when I got home. They had kids that was old as they were when I went to prison. So,
21 years is a long time. It's a quarter of an average person's life, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's
Well, that's what the judge told my prosecutor when he tried to send me back to prison. He tried to violate me because I was taking calls from people in jail, and the judge was like, "Get out of here." That's probably all he knows. He's been in jail for 20 years, over a quarter of his life. So we're not gonna send him back to jail for taking calls to his only friends that he had. Because when you go to prison, everybody seems to like flee. Like roaches from raid. You spray the roach can and this raid, and all the roaches just burst. So all my friends kind of like change their phone numbers, but I understand why.
Now we'll dive into the your time in prison and then obviously what you're doing now. But I'm really fascinated as to, at your age, you started at 19, right?
Selling drugs, yeah.
Selling drugs, and then through the age of 28, so almost a decade. How do you get to that level where you're doing $1 billion basically a year of drugs and survive that? I mean, we I've seen it in movies. I've never been involved in a drug deal, so it's fascinating to me when
it's pretty easy.
it's pretty.
You said that with a straight face.
Break that down for us, because I would think, okay, you make
Well, you find a bunch of guys,
right,
or girls and women who smart, don't have a job, but want everything. Perfect combination. Now you just teach them how to sell drugs. You go out, you win the drug prices. See, I went out, I won the prices myself. And then you go back to them and you just give them the prices. Like, hey, I'm gonna give you my price. I'm just gonna make a small percentage. And I worked off of the smallest percentage probably that you could probably work off of, and it made the people that I sold drugs to make a lot of money. And when people are making a lot of money, people were interested in what are they doing.
So they come back.
And they tell their friends.
But how do they tell their friends and they come back?
But how did you manage to stay alive? I mean, I would think at that level, if you're pushing that much, that type of numbers, there's somebody that wants to take you out.
I mean, you got people that want to rob you, and you got the cops that want to rob you. But for the most part, people didn't know who I was. I was kind of under the radar because when I first started, I wanted nice car and the jewelry and all that. And then the money started coming so fast, and I was like, the hell I want a piece of gold for? What I want a car for? When I can buy the car dealership, I can buy the jewelry store. And you start thinking like that, and then money buys knowledge, it buys friends. Um, and I started hanging out with people who had money, and they didn't really care about the fancy clothes and so forth. And I just started adopting some of their principles.
But did you ever end up buying the dealership or the jewelry stores or any real estate? What did you do with
Oh,
all
I
that
bought a
money?
lot of real estate. I had about 30 houses at one time, about maybe 7, 8 apartment buildings, junkyard, beauty salon, time wheel shop, body shop.
You were building an empire,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah. I mean, when you making in my last 2 years, my best 2 years was probably 84, 86, right before the Freeway Task Force really got heavy on us. We were doing $1 million every day, some days 3 million, $2 million.
Was that sales or that was your profit?
No, that's sales. My
Sales.
profit out of $1 million probably was like 200.
Oh, that's it, 200.
Just 200,000.
Yeah, just 200,000. And then sometimes it could go up. It's a cardinal who came.
Yeah.
Like I had guys that, I might charge. Like one guy might charge 35, and another guy might charge 40 for a kilo. So it depends on who came that day and so forth with how much money you were gonna make, how much profit you was gonna
So
make.
it got to the point where you were pricing everything out the way you wanted.
Yeah, it didn't. It got to a point to where it wasn't even about money no more.
What
You
was it
know,
about?
it was about being the biggest. How big could I get?
Jeez, man.
But
I mean,
did you have any level of like protection from because from what I understand and what I've read, these drugs are basically coming from the government, right? So did you have any type of protection, or I mean, how were you able to comfortably do such high volume without?
Well, I kept my gun. I had a Browning 9mm, and I put on my bulletproof vest, and I felt pretty secure. All my guys had guns, and I was in an area that I grew up. And I knew these guys who knew that I was selling drugs, who could identify me. I knew most of them. So in any business that you go in order for somebody to want to rob you, they have to know you, or somebody have to sick them on you. And in my case, most of the people that knew what I was doing, they didn't want nothing to happen to me.
You were their source of income.
I was their source of income.
But at any point, were there anybody bigger than you, whether let's say it's the cartels or whoever that wanted you out because you were?
But they wouldn't have knew who I was.
How's that possible? I
They,
would
they
think
may have knew my name. They probably knew the name, just like downtown. Um, they say downtown was asking the cops, who is this guy, Freeway Rick, who we hear about selling all these drugs in South Central LA? Why you guys haven't brought him to justice? What is going on here? So the cops knew my name, but they didn't know what I looked like. They didn't know where I hung out at. They didn't have those type of clues. They wasn't going to see me riding down the street in a Ferrari. Like a lot of the guys that they would catch him, they would see him riding down. Who is this in this Ferrari in South Central LA? Who is this in this Rolls
yeah.
Royce in South Central? Who's this guy with all this jewelry on? With me, I'm walking around in a sweatshirt. I might be dribbling a basketball or a tennis racket.
Driving around in a Camry.
Not back then. It was old Malibu Nova, a Ford station wagon.
Yeah, because
it's crazy to stay under the radar for that long and to do that type of volume.
But it became a game, though. Like a cat and mouse game.
Yeah, but I mean, Rick, you were responsible for, bringing in.
Not bringing in.
Well, not bringing in, but selling thousands and thousands upon pounds of cocaine, crack. Was marijuana involved as well?
I did a little marijuana. I couldn't get marijuana.
You didn't like the marijuana
No,
game?
I wanted it, but I couldn't get it.
Because
you know, when I go buy marijuana, they say, "Oh, we'll sell you 20 pounds." 20 pounds?
that's nothing.
What am I gonna do with all this money?
See, it's fascinating. Your story reminds me of George Jung's story. You know who
Yeah,
George Jung is,
yeah.
right? George Jung started in the marijuana game. They call him Boston George.
I know George. I knew George.
Yeah, we'll get to that as well. But George slowly went from marijuana to cocaine, and then even flying out all the way to Colombia to meet Escobar. Did you and George ever cross paths?
Not doing that era, no.
No.
We met after he got out of prison.
Oh, okay.
I beat him out of prison.
How long-
but that's part of being the low keyness frustrated the cops. The cops couldn't understand it. And then, I found out the cops are so fucking lazy. They fuckers just want to check. Like, motherfuckers, you could have got me if you'd have been, halfway smart or just halfway did your job. Like, fuck, do your job. Watch my house. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm thinking. I
Follow
mean,
me around.
if they just followed a couple of your guys, let's say, okay, this guy's buying it from him, and then who's he buying from, and then one lead to the other, and then follow you.
But they still probably would have missed me because I probably would have pulled up and they probably went, "Oh, that's just one of the smokers."
Yeah, because you were, like you said, dribbling the basketball in sweatshirts.
Somebody would have had to. They would have had to do some investigation. I mean, it would have took some work, but it was possible. It was possible to do it, and these cops were just not. They just wasn't up to doing any work.
It just blows my mind how LAPD or FBI, whoever is involved, couldn't pinpoint even a simple description as to what Rick Ross looked like.
Do you think they even wanted to catch you, or did it benefit them because you have claimed to pretty much have brought cocaine to LA, right? In the sense, or distributed,
Well, LA Times
introduced it to LA.
LA Times said that I'm the first crack millionaire. Not that I introduced cocaine to LA, but that I took crack and took it to a level that nobody had ever did before.
That was in '84, I think. The article, LA Times wrote that.
I don't remember when they wrote it. LA wrote so many. They wrote so many articles about me that.
So knowing that, you don't think law enforcement wanted you to expand your operation because that just gave them more, small guys to catch and kind of, because there's obviously a lot of theories as to how law enforcement will seize these drugs or the cash, right? And then who knows whatever happens to that money or those drugs. You don't think that was part of their game plan where they were like, okay, let's pretend we can't get to Rick Ross.
We'll just take the money.
We'll just take the money.
And that's what they did. So we don't know if that was a plan but that's what happened. They wind up going to prison for stealing money. Well, not all of them, not all 35, only 6 actually went to prison.
Wow, because they were involved. Were they the Freeway Task Force or?
There was the Freeway Task Force. Yeah. You did a little research.
A little bit.
See, I'm fascinated how your day-to-day process was. Like, walk us through. Okay, you wake up in the morning. Like, how does your day plan out?
Well, I probably would get up back then. I probably would get up. We would cook dope from around 2 to around 3:30
AM or PM?
p.m. I mean AM.
AM.
Well, see what happened is I learned the pattern of the cops, right? I learned what time they like to raid. They like to raid at 6 in the morning.
So you're out of the house by the time they're raiding it.
Yeah, when they raid, we're done.
You're already working on distribution.
And distribution was easy. And we didn't keep the dope in the house. We kept it in cars. So I said, a car is mobile, plus nobody knows it's in the car but us. Only 2 or 3 of us know that we put it in the car. We take an unmarked car and just put it anywhere in the city and just leave it. Have the alarms on it and just shut off and get out and go. And then around 2:00, we go to breakfast and we meet all the guys. Everybody come in and make their orders and and get the money up. Tell them to take the money to the count house and they drop it into the girls. The girls count the money and call, hey, give us the count. And I tell the guys, hey, put him 20 kilos in that bag, put this guy's name on it, and 20 in that bag, 30 in that bag, put this guy's name on it, and we put them in a van. And then about 2 o'clock, we call everybody and say, hey, we on such street. And guys just start pulling up. We throw their bags in their car and they pull off. And 15 minutes later, I'm back on the basketball court.
How would you communicate with everybody? There were no cell phones back then.
Yeah, we had cell phones. We had
You
repeater.
had cell phones in
Yeah.
the 80s?
Yeah, we
Really?
had cell phones. And we had repeater walkie-talkies.
They were satellite phones, right?
No, they were cell phones. They was
The real big clunky one?
yeah, they was big. I think
Oh,
I got
the Saved by the Bell bulky kind of cube.
I
like
had my
bricks.
first phone, I think, in like 83. This was the big suitcase that had the car battery, and you had to pay a guy to carry it, and
Cranking it and shit.
And getting plugged in was really tough. And I think one phone call was like $3 a minute.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, my phone bill my first car phone that I got, right? Because the suitcase was horrible. I only had that for a couple weeks. It cost about $4,000. But the first car phone I got, I think my first phone bill was like $12,000 because everybody got in my car was like, hey, baby, we on the phone.
Oh, geez. It's like, you know where I am? I'm on the 405 calling you. See, wasn't there wiretapping or anything like that?
I
Back
don't
in the
know.
day?
Cell phones were so new that I don't think the cops even thought about tapping cell phones. They didn't even know about tapping cell phones. I don't think it was just so new that we felt like talking on the cell phone was private, And then we had the repeaters too, the walkie-talkies,
Yeah, yeah.
the high-power walkie-talkies. They go like 100 miles, so we would be on the
Communication
walkie-talkies.
with that. See, who are your customers at the time? Majority of them, as far as like the
All my
people.
customers was from all over. They was coming, it started from South Central, and it just expanded. Pasadena, Riverside, Chicago, Cincinnati, Texas.
And what was like the age demographics? Were they all like younger people?
Yeah, young.
See,
young.
I want to get into Rick Ross's head as far as understanding what was going through your head, knowing that you were selling drugs to younger people who you don't know what their future is going to be like if they don't do whatever they're doing as far as using. For you, was it still of a
Well, these are not users.
what would you call them then?
I'm not selling to users.
So what was,
Not at this time.
so what was it like? What was going through your head at the time where you're like, all right, you know what, I'm selling drugs.
They're finna be millionaires.
That's it. You
These
didn't care about who was in
these
front
kids are finna be millionaires. They're gonna be like me.
of you. Really?
Because you were only interacting with the distributors, you felt like you were helping them
I
build.
grew from the streets. When I was on the streets, when I was buying eighths and halves and ounces, that's when I sold directly to users. But I didn't stay there long. And I was only probably selling. I still would sell to users. I would have some rock houses, but most of my customers were not users.
So they were dealers.
They were dealers.
Yeah, because like I don't know what it is, man. Like when you see stuff like this, and I know obviously you've done a complete 180 in life. You're completely against all this,
Yeah, maybe a 360, maybe a 400
even that. But well, 360 you'd land in the same place, right?
Yeah, you do, but in a different
okay. But it's like you look at it as if you can go back in time and talk to yourself at the age of 19, what would you say to yourself?
You're a genius.
Really? Even though you were locked up, didn't see your kids.
No, I wasn't locked up at 19.
No, I mean obviously, even though you knew you were going to get locked up, like this is future Rick Ross. This is you right now.
Yeah,
Going
but see,
back
you're
in time.
gonna get him away from the drug business. You're gonna let him know that if he'd have been selling bikes or tennis shoes, he would have been rich. Because the principles that he practiced. When I got to prison, after I read all those books that I read 300 books while I was gone.
Yeah.
After I read those books, I understand how I got rich. I totally get it.
You could have applied that same principle, like you said, selling shoes, selling
Books,
so
T-shirts. You
anything.
know, Joe Rogan give me an idea about a T-shirt, and I sell the fuck out of the T-shirt. And like, you go on the internet, the fucking T-shirts, they bootlegging the T-shirt now. You know,
Well, they bootlegged a bunch of shit of yours as well. They what
my
was it?
name,
Yeah, your name
my
is one thing. Your
story.
name, your story. I mean, the Netflix special Snow is after your life, basically, isn't it?
I didn't see Snowfall.
Snowfall, sorry.
FX.
Or FX.
Yeah. They bootlegged my story too.
And are you getting paid for that at all?
Nah. That's the only difference in the cocaine game. I got paid, and this other stuff I ain't getting paid.
Now, were you able to sustain any of your investments from back then, or like any of the properties?
Nah, you go away for 20 years. That's a long time. A lot of stuff changed in 20 years.
Were they seized prior to you going in, or you just
A few pieces, and family members, state claim it's mine now.
Oh shit!
He got a life sentence without the possibility of parole. He will not need this, and he's not giving it to the girl. Everybody thought I was going to give everything to women.
And that's one of the reasons why even they took your name, right? They thought, well, he's not coming out, so we might as well use his name.
Absolutely.
So when you got out of prison and you hear about a rapper named Rick Ross, and you're like, this motherfucker took my name
and didn't pay.
Did you go through a lawsuit?
I tried to sue him. Yep. Judge wasn't going for it. Yeah, we were suing for like $50 million. Universal Music Group, Sony, Warner Brothers. We wanted everybody to use the name. You use the name, pay. They didn't go for it though.
Yeah, they have attorneys up to yin yang.
How do you know? They spent a lot of money on attorneys.
Well, I mean, come on, Sony.
And then I got these two little attorneys who
don't even know if they're gonna get paid or not.
They not getting paid.
Who wear the diabetic shoes?
Can't buy lunch.
Remember that meme?
And these guys coming in, they got on the Armani suits.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a meme out. I don't know if you've seen it, where it shows like an attorney wearing these really baggy pants and hospital shoes, and it says, "If your attorney looks like this, you're going to jail." So you basically
no, I seen some that look like that and go to court and raise hell.
Do they?
They pure hell in the courtroom, man.
Did you see Rick Ross in court though?
No, I saw him at depositions. We took his deposition.
And what was the body language or interaction?
He hates me. I probably cost him all of his royalties for his first 15 to 20 years. He's probably still paying royalties.
Wait, hold on. He's paying royalties to who?
To the lawyers. The lawyers, they said they spent $1.5 million to defend that case.
Oh, shit.
That comes out of his royalties.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Oh, I see.
I thought if he was going to be paying royalties to anybody, it'd be you.
No. If Universal defended him.
They probably took the case on like a contingency. So
well, no, Universal had to defend themselves too.
Yeah.
So they had to defend themselves. So they hired the attorneys, but who paid for the attorneys? Universal not going to pay for the attorneys. This is not their lawsuit. This is your lawsuit. You caused this. It comes out of your money.
Your future earnings, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now, so what motivated you in prison to actually learn to read and write is that you realized they gave you 3 strikes for which was not correct, right? Because they should have given you 1 strike for what you had done for your conviction, but they gave you 3 strikes, and that's why your attorney was unable to defend you with that.
He didn't understand.
He didn't understand it, and that's why you decided to learn to read and write so you can.
Well, no, the reason I learned how to read and write because guys explained to me that my lawyer didn't care as much about my case as I should care.
Yeah.
And I agree with them. They said something like this here. They said, your attorney got other clients? I said, yes. You got kids? I said, yeah. You got a wife? I said, yeah. He said, do you think that attorney put your case in front of all of them? And I said, no way. They said, well, somebody should put your case in front of all of them. And that somebody was me. And I take that same mentality with everything that I do right now. There's nobody that should care about the real Rick Ross t-shirt selling more than I do. That's why I sell it.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree
My
with
book, same way. And I do everything with that same passion that nobody should care more about that than what I want to do than I do.
You're prioritizing.
Yes, you got to, and you know, when I was in Columbus the other day. I spoke at a juvenile detention center. Wonderful time, man. I was just so thrilled to be able to talk to those young guys, you know. And a lot of these guys are looking at a lot. They had an 18-year-old kid in there with a life sentence.
that. Wow.
He's supposed to never come home, and to break down life to them, you know, was and to see that they get it, you know. Even in Waterloo, I spoke at a juvenile detention center there as well, and it's amazing that I can get to these kids, you know, like just how I used to could get to them in a dope game, how I could convince them to sell dope, I can convince them now to turn their prison cell into a dorm. Don't allow your prison cell to confine you. Take this prison cell and make it work for you. That's what I did. I made my prison cell work for me. It had got so interesting in prison that there was not enough time in the day.
In prison.
In prison, I did not have enough time. I wanted more time. Give me more time in the day.
But how do you, let's say you were mentioning that 18-year-old kid who's going to do life in prison. How does one go? What's the size of a cell? Is it like 8 by?
They're small.
Small, right? I mean, how do you step into that cell knowing very likely you're never leaving that? You know,
Well, you can't know that.
Well,
because nothing is for certain.
I understand, but what the judge has read the verdict, it's you're doing life without parole, for example.
Well, if you make the judge the say all, then yeah. But I never let my judge be the say all. I told my judge when I left, I'll be back. And she said, I'll be here when you get here. You know what she said? You kept your word. As soon as I walked in the courtroom, that was the first thing she said to me. You kept your word, because I told her I was coming back.
And she remembered you.
Of course she remembered me.
I would be surprised if you forgot him.
I was the first person that she ever gave a life sentence to.
Oh, shit.
She saw me struggling with my reading. She also saw me after I was able to read law books and how I dictated the law to her when I had my time to talk.
So you were representing yourself at that point?
No. I had a lawyer, but I wanted to speak myself too, just in case my lawyer didn't think my issue that I won was a worthy issue. And I didn't think that he put the passion in it that I felt it deserved. So I wanted to talk to the judge myself and explain to her that what she, the prosecutor, and even my lawyer, because he never said it out loud, thought about my issue, all of them was wrong.
He was just basically there to kind of show up and be like, all right, you know what? I'm not getting this guy out of jail. I'm not going to be butting heads with the judge.
No, I ain't going to be made look like a fool. That's what he was saying.
Well, yeah, of course. He's like, the judge is going to intimidate me. I'm not going to know what to say. And it's kind of like, hey, Rick, you know what? Just bite the bullet at this point. And
no, he didn't really say it like that. And kind of though,
say it like
kind of
that,
he
but
did. Kind of he was like, he didn't want to do my appeal. Hey man, take your last money.
You see,
you're gonna need commissary. You got a long time to do. So he kind of said it like that, but not in those words.
Because, you know, being a criminal defense attorney, you have to know the law in the ins and outs of it. And the fact that you taught yourself how to read, I mean, in essence, you basically kind of became a lawyer in your sense.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Other people would ask me to help them with their case.
In jail.
Yep.
So, a couple of questions we have. By the way, our viewers are able to ask and comment on certain things, so we're gonna read as we go too.
By the way, water, anything like? Would you like anything?
Yeah, you can give me a water. I can take a water.
All right.
Is it true that you were at any given point connected with the cartel from Nicaragua or Colombia?
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua
Yeah. The
was
Contras, not the
Mm,
cartel, the Contras.
the Contras.
Ronald Reagan's Contras.
That
George
would
Bush's Contras.
Well, weren't the Contras the ones that were involved with Iran as well?
Yeah, they had something
With
to do with that.
with the opium coming in.
Well, they took money from, I think it was Iran, and gave it to the Contras.
the Contras were
And the Contras took that money and bought drugs.
the Contras controlled by the CIA?
They was the CIA's army. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I don't know how to control and all that. But they was being advised, and the CIA was on the Contra side. Let's say that.
Because I remember who was it that was talking about it. I remember they were mentioning something about the opium being grown in not only Iran but in Afghanistan, and it would be packaged and it would be sent to Nicaragua to the Contras, and they were one of the main distributors for it.
Yeah,
And they would
I don't know, but I know they distributed cocaine. I do know that.
Hmm.
See,
And I know Ronald Reagan said he was a Contra.
Ronald Reagan said he was a Contra.
Of course. Forever. So he would forever be a Contra.
See, I don't even remember that.
How old were you? How would you remember?
Well, as far as like going back and watching old videos and reading old stuff, I don't even remember.
Look it up. You'll see it.
Ronald Reagan said that.
Say he was a Contra, yeah.
Jeez.
What they felt the Contras was helping keep Russia out of the U.S. They thought if the Contras lost the war over Nicaragua against the Sandinistas, that Russia would be marching down the streets of America.
See, it's always an America versus Russia thing
Yeah, been a long time.
till today. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like Russia's still the enemy, and everybody else is kind of like, Russia's the bad guy. Whether it was the Soviets and now it's Vladimir Putin. Back in the day was who else was it? Gorbachev, Yeltsin, all those guys. It's always America versus Russia. But in all honesty, I think I think America and Russia are best friends, and it's all an act. They're playing.
Good cop,
Say,
bad cop.
yeah, man. It's all an act to keep us all distracted from something else.
Yeah, who knows? I know that. Well, I don't even know that.
What, Rick?
The war over in Ukraine, they're pretty serious over there. It looks like on TV,
Well, the media says a lot of things, and you coming out of jail and seeing how how the media twists and turns things. I mean, you can't believe everything you see on TV or on social media nowadays.
No, I agree. I don't believe nothing I see on social media. There's a couple news channels that give them a little credibility, but the media is controlled.
Now you started. Is it true you started buying from Blandon, right? He was your basically source, and then he was the one who actually
One of 'em.
ended up pretty much. He was a DA informant.
He set me up.
Who ended up
He
setting
set-
you up to go to prison, right?
Yeah, he entrapped me.
Mm.
What they did was entrapment.
Was he the one that basically had the wire on?
He was wired. They had him target me. It's supposed to be illegal to target somebody that's not committing crime.
Because
But
at that point you were kind of out of the game, no? When
not kind of out of the game. I was out of the game.
you were out of the game
I
when
was
he
done.
invited you to, was it Ohio or where to go?
No, San Diego.
San Diego. Okay.
Yeah, it was. It was. I don't even like talking about that stuff. It's really sad. That our country still entraps people. But I ain't the worst person that been entrapped. When I started
Yeah.
reading entrapment cases, there was a woman, Jennifer Scary, who was a case that was president's, and they went as far as threatening her kid
When you say
to get her to introduce them to the guy that was selling meth. So, and she never sold meth. It was her boyfriend that was selling the meth because she had the connection. They threatened her. It's a mess. It's a mess.
But when you say entrap, because that's what as I was learning more and more about you, because we always wonder, right, whether it's drug dealing or you see a lot of people that do different types of fraud, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll do it for a couple of years or 5 years or 10 years, and eventually they get caught. And you always wonder, well,
Well, that ain't entrapment.
no, but
Entrapment is somebody who's not selling drugs, and you talk them into selling drugs, and you're a government agent.
but this was after the fact. You were selling drugs, and then you stopped,
Right.
and then he convinced you to go back in, and that's how he got you.
Correct.
But if you hadn't gone back in, would you have never been caught, you think? As far as like they would have never imprisoned you for whatever you had done in the past?
I
Were
already did time for my past.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. When he entrapped me, I'd already did time for the stuff that I had done. I just got out of prison. I was only out of prison.
So you were basically you were on parole.
I was on parole. Yeah.
How long did you do that first time?
5.5 years.
5.5. Wow.
So 5.5 years, you're out of prison, you're on parole, and they basically entrap you. And from what I remember was there was a drugs coming in, and you said one word, and you were like, "How much?" Right?
Yeah, he told me he had 700 kilos.
You said how much, and that was it.
That's what got me on the entrapment.
So,
That showed predisposition, as they say in the courtroom.
because all you had to say was, I'm out of that game. I don't need to do this shit no more."
That's what I should have said.
Was it?
That's what I should have said.
Was it the old?
But he didn't have to leave me alone because I said that.
But see, was it the old Rick Ross kind of like still curious about shit? I wonder how much I could sell this for, or was
drugs? It's addiction. It's an addiction.
Were you also using it at the time when you say it's an addiction?
No.
Or no?
No, his was different. His
No,
was,
you don't have to be. You don't have to put it in your nose or your arm or put it on a pipe to be addicted.
You were addicted to the high of selling all that.
Correct.
it was the
The
business
lifestyle.
aspect,
The
yeah.
lifestyle. Because I can imagine it's hard to walk away and say, okay, this is my last one. After this, I'm retiring. I'm walking away. I've got enough real estate. I've got enough investments. I'm done.
Yeah. And selling drugs become a crutch. Whenever something go wrong, I'll just go sell some drugs. I'll feel better.
Because see, like with
I
you,
go make $1 million.
Yeah, because
How would making $1 million make you feel? Oh yeah,
of course, it's a different high.
I feel good now.
Yeah, it's a different high. Because with you, it's like, okay, you served your sentence, you're out, you want to start a new lifestyle, and all of a sudden,
I got this great opportunity.
yeah, and you're just like, hey, you know what? I could make $1 million and start doing XYZ again. But at the same time, there's still it's like that devil and angel on your shoulders. The angel's saying, hey, leave it alone. You don't need this anymore. You're out. And the devil's saying, hey, one more run.
Yeah, and then, you start to think like, what the hell? I'd rather be in prison than broke. Because if you broke, you are in prison.
See, statistically, a lot of people that go to jail, when they're out, they're not used to that lifestyle. They're used to that imprisonment. And they end up committing some sort of crime and going back to jail. When you were out,
I don't know if that's the case. Nah,
statistically speaking.
I don't agree with that statistic.
But, I mean, it's out there, Rick.
Most people go back to jail because they're trying to get some money.
Well, I mean, it falls into the statistics, doesn't it?
What do you mean they're trying to get some money? As in?
They broke. They lost everything they had. They do 15, 20 years in prison. They don't have shit when they get out of prison, and they want some money again. So they don't want to be out here begging.
So they committed crime.
So they commit a crime, yeah.
Or do they commit to go back because they're like, look,
no. They commit a crime because they want some money. If they get away with the crime, they're going good. Nobody's committing crime to go to prison.
So didn't you mention how being broke is just like being in prison, so you might as well be in prison where you don't even have to worry about bills, right?
That was me. I was thinking like that.
Was your life ever in danger in prison, or you're okay?
Not really, no. I wasn't afraid of prison.
What was the most impactful book you read out of the 300 titles that you read?
Well, I would say 3.
3 of them.
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Which is probably the most popular book ever, right? I mean, as far as
Wrote it sold hundreds of millions of copies. The Richest Man in Babylon and As a Man Think.
those 3 had the biggest impact.
Oh
on
my
you.
goodness, did they wake me up? They woke up a giant. They taught me who I really was, what I did in the dope game, and they showed me what I could do on the streets.
So what are you doing now with going and speaking with people? Are you speaking to a lot of kids? Because your story obviously has resonated throughout society, and a lot of people need that help, need that guidance. Are you that big brother? Are you that father figure that's going out there and saying, hey, listen, if you're doing XYZ, I can help you and guide you in a way where you can take that knowledge that you have and put it towards something else?
Yeah, I try to do that. That's what I try to do. Then when I wrote my book, that's what I wrote my book. That's what my book is about. My book is me taking Think and Grow Rich, Richest Man in Babylon, As a Man Think, and breaking it in ghetto terms.
What's the title of your book?
Freeway Rick Ross, Untold Autobiography. I don't know why I didn't bring none with me. Crazy me.
I think because you showed up early, that you probably just forgot.
I probably don't want to sell. I guess I sold enough in Cleveland. Huh?
But why Freeway? Where did the Freeway come from? Freeway Rick Ross.
This guy gave me that name. He gave us that name. My mom stayed on the side of the freeway, so this guy saw us over there when we were stealing cars, taking the parts off on the side of the freeway, and he called us the junky ass freeway boys, and the name just stuck.
Before drugs, you were stealing cars and selling them, right?
Yeah.
So you're always in sales.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was in sales as a kid. I should cut grass and go to the neighbors and get their bottles and take them to the stores and split the money with them. So I've always been, that entrepreneur spirit. Get all the fellas together. We do car washes, and I learned at an early age that you need money in this land of milk and honey. And if you ain't got no money, you ain't getting no honey.
How are you applying all that you've learned prior to prison and then through the books and your experience in prison? How are you applying all that to your life today, other than the speaking engagements where you're trying to help?
Well, speaking is the most important thing to me right now. I think that our kids need another voice. They got this loud voice screaming out about sell drugs, get high on this, and take these pills and drink this, and I think they need a voice to counter that, and don't look like nobody else want to do it, So um, I like the jobs that nobody else want. That's where all the money is.
Because you said you have so much going on in your mind that you don't have enough hours in a day to.
Not only in my mind, in my activity. See, if you just got it going on in your mind, it's nothing. A thought with no action is wasted. Yeah. It's a wasted thought. So I'm putting all my thoughts into action. Even if I don't have a way to make it happen at that time, I'm still going to be putting that action in the progress.
So you're traveling everywhere and speaking at. Are you speaking at schools? Are you speaking in like town halls?
Schools, town halls, juvenile hall, jailhouses, county jails, you name it. I'm there, baby. You get a crowd, I'm coming.
And how are people, greeting you when Rick Ross shows up?
I'm breaking through.
Are you seeing progress with the kids?
Oh my goodness.
Tell us about that at least.
Unbelievable progress. When I went just in Cleveland the other day, when we went in, these kids were not hearing it.
Really?
Not hearing it. But after I got to talking to them, you could hear a pin drop. It was like that crazy. And I did the same thing in Detroit. I went to the school and the principal was like, "Oh, you want to talk to the kids? Okay, it's lunchtime."
Oh shit.
The cafeteria is yours. And we walked in, they was throwing milk, and
Everybody's angry.
man, it was chaos. And I went in, and I go over to this little dude. I said, oh, he's the shot caller. Come here, homie. Hey, I came down here to holler at you. He said, oh, yeah. I said, yeah, you know who I am? He was like, no, I don't know who he is. I said, pull out your phone. I said, you see Snoop Dogg? He called me uncle.
Oh. So these
you see
ki-
Boosie? Boosie called me Uncle Rick.
Oh damn. So these kids are like, now they're like, holy shit, this guy's a public figure now.
He's the real deal. They tired of all these fake mo, you know. They give them fake everything.
Well, I mean, you got all these rappers and all these hip hop artists talking about selling drugs, doing this and doing that, but all of a sudden, you know, the real Rick Ross shows up, and he's been through it all. He's seen it all. He's counted the money that these guys are claiming they've counted.
Yeah, yeah. I ain't saw it all though. I'm gonna see a lot more. Man. I'm finna have my own coffee. I got my own facial cream. I'm finna soap, toothpaste, deodorant. Whew. It just goes on and on and on and on. It just stuff just keep coming to me, you know, like that T-shirt idea that Joe Rogan.
I love the entrepreneurship in your brain right now, because what you're doing right now is you got a handful of darts and you're just throwing it at a dartboard, and you're like, you know what? I'm hoping that all of them stick. But if one of them sticks, it's a snowball effect at that point.
Yeah, well, you know, if you can get one to stick, you can get them all to stick.
or that. Hey, listen, man, I'm not gonna say no to that.
You know, people like winners.
Because you're mentioning it. You just mentioned soap, this, that, all these things, and you know what? God willing, it blows up to the point where people actually, you know, piggyback on this, and they say, hey, you know what? This guy's not only selling XYZ, but he's got a story to tell, and this might help kids get off the streets and get their heads in these damn books and make something of themselves.
Well, you know, kids when they need somebody that they can see. You know, like I told the kids, I said, everybody tell you don't be a copycat, and I said, well, I'm gonna tell you something different. Make sure you copying the right cat.
I like that.
Because you said something interesting when you were on Joe's show, Joe Rogan. You said when you got out, you were expecting people to hand you money, like somebody, you know, hey Rick, here's $100,000, bro. Get your life back together.
Yeah.
Which is the front door, as you called it. But when Joe gave you the idea of the T-shirt, you realized you got to look to the back door, because the T-shirt made you a lot more than the 100,000. But you didn't think of that because you thought maybe, you know, let me get a handout.
Well, it would have been easier.
Yeah, let me get a handout. It'd be easier.
Yeah, not a handout, but a hand up.
Or hand up, sure.
You know, I don't want no handout. I don't like handouts. If I was, I'd be down at the welfare office saying, "Hey, give me GR."
Bro, that's the last place you want to be.
Yeah, give me a hand up. You know, reach out and pull me up. You know, throw me a raft.
Because I mean, look, Joe Rogan's obviously a big name, and I'm sure you know other big names. How, I mean, you don't have to mention names, but how have those people supported you since you've been out? Because you've been out since when, 2011 or
9?
09?
I mean, you know, people have support in different ways. You know, that's support by Joe bringing me on this show.
I mean, that's biggest support. Okay, he's got the biggest podcast in the world. So
yeah, that's support. But as far as, you know, I don't know. You know, I would just see, you know, if I was doing cocaine, they would front me $1 million worth of cocaine. You know, why nobody has come up in front of me some money? You know, say, hey, we're gonna give you a $500,000 loan, a $300,000 loan, a $200,000. Well, I done got a $200,000 loan from Navy Federal.
That kind of sounds like student loans, right?
Somewhat.
If you go to the bank, you say, listen, I need $500,000 to start my business. They'll say, really?
We just manipulate your credit. Yeah. You know, take your credit, build it up, get your numbers right, and then they just give you the money. And then you just pay your bills and pay your bills and pay your bills, and they keep building up your credit cards, and next thing you know, you got a $40,000 credit card from 10 banks.
Yeah.
Not to mention the interest they've been collecting on you.
Yeah, they done made their money back. So it's all good though. Win-win situation.
Yeah. But when getting out of prison, I mean, see, a lot of people, when they enter society again, the people that were by your side, how many of them stuck around? Were there a lot of them that stuck around, or
When you go to prison,
no, when you came back out, when you came back to society?
most of them was messed up.
Oh man.
Yeah, most of them was messed up.
Did you reach out to any of them and kind of help them kind of get back on their feet?
You try. You try to help everybody that you can. But some people ain't hearing it. Oh man, we don't hear that stuff in them books.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though
you got to show them. You got to show them. They want to see. They want to see. So I'm gonna show. I'm gonna show the whole world. That's what I'm after now. I want to show the whole world that they threw away the key too soon. That's what Jesse Katz said in my article. He wrote my obituary. Can it take 2-minute break? Because I got somebody at the door. I need to get in.
Oh, downstairs?
Yeah.
Do you want one of our boys to go down and
Yeah,
grab
when
him?
he do it, when he get it, let him.
Can you grab him? Yeah, tell him one of our guys is gonna be at the door.
All right, here. I'm gonna let you here. Take this if you don't mind. Sorry about this.
No, you're okay.
We
You're
live
okay.
on the air. And then,
Don't worry
hey,
about it.
people, my man is here. Here's the phone.
Turn it to Joe. Joe, put the camera on you. Oh, he's gonna grab the phone real quick.
Hey, Frank, they coming down to let you in.
No problem, guys. We'll be right back after these messages.
Okay. All right. He said he's just gonna wait for me.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Whenever you guys are ready.
So, I mean, while you were on your way here, we were talking about family. We were talking about society. We were talking about what's going on with kids and how
Society fucking up right now.
Well, definitely, that's for sure. But social media has done a lot to society as well, creating this fake persona or this fake lifestyle that everybody's living on one of these, and it's kind of like a fake it till you make it, and it's brainwashed a lot of these kids. Back in the day, with the whole drug rings going on and this flashy lifestyle, is it similar to what's going on today? As far as these kids kind of...
Well, we wasn't faking. We was gonna make it by hook or crook.
Hook or crook, meaning?
No, by hook or crook, we was gonna make it.
I have no idea what that means,
Hook
Rick.
or crook?
Yeah, hook or crook.
Remember, we grew up in Glendale, so
Yeah, I have no idea what that means, Rick.
We was gonna hook you, or we was gonna crook you.
Crook meaning?
No, crook. You know what a crook is?
No.
A criminal.
criminal crook. Okay.
We're Armenian boys, man. We
Hey,
eat from Glendale.
They got gangsta Armenians. Stop it. I used to hang out with y'all in jail.
Are you serious?
Come on, man. Y'all do the big crimes.
Well, it's... oh, shit.
Y'all don't do the little petty crimes. Y'all do it.
Oh yeah.
Y'all do the smart crimes too.
$3 million a day, petty crime.
Oh, we tapped into the bank and we emptied the bank $10 million.
Come on, Rick.
And people keep in mind, $3 million a day. We're talking about 80s, not 2024.
Yeah, that's when the houses in South Central was like $50,000, $60,000.
You could have about 45 homes a day, pretty much.
Well, the one thing I'm glad was you invested the property. You invested into property.
They're doing no good.
Oh yeah, I mean obviously because they came back and seized everything.
Yeah.
The best thing I got out of the dope game was my mind. My mind.
I mean, being able to, like you mentioned, teaching yourself how to read at the age of 28, right?
Mm-hmm. It taught me how to be a critical thinker. Like right now, I go do business deals with people, and they be like, well, "Rick, you don't know," and I be like, because I keep my cool. I don't never let people know what I'm thinking, and I be like, "Motherfucker, I done did more deals in my 20s than you gonna ever do in your whole life." Because what my people don't understand is that each time you do a deal, with dope, it's a deal. It was two people that came to an agreement.
Yep.
So that's a deal. So whether you're doing a deal with a house, a car, or you're buying a T-shirt from Walmart, all of those are deals. So I've done a lot of deals in my life.
Did you ever? I'm curious. Did you ever read Art of the Deal by
I read-
Donald Trump?
I did. I read about 3 of Donald's books.
Did you?
He didn't write those books though.
No, he kind of co-authored it.
I don't think he cooperated. I don't think so.
No,
Nah, not from what I see on TV.
What are your thoughts of the Don?
Not very high.
You don't like him?
Not like him. I don't know him. I don't think he's very smart though.
Really?
No.
See, you
The guy's gonna wind up putting himself in prison. He had all the money in the world, and he's gonna wind up putting himself in prison.
how so? I mean, he would have been in prison by now. No?
Well,
With all these indictments?
they found him guilty of 30 crimes.
Okay.
The only reason he ain't in prison because he was the he was the president of the United States. But the way he's going at stuff that it's going to build up to the point to where they're going to have to make a stand.
see, I'm surprised you of all people say that because you were convicted of one crime, but with 3 strikes, right? So if you look at his 34 convictions, they're all bullshit.
Overt acts. They call overt acts.
They're general ledger, like, oh, this general ledger, that general. It's like basically, general ledger is usually in the.
They call them overt acts.
What does that mean?
Well,
Overtaxed? Or?
Overt acts, like you did an act.
Mhm.
Like say, for instance, if you get caught with cocaine
Mm-hmm.
and it's over 10 kilos, you automatically get distribution.
Oh,
So that's
okay.
2 strikes?
You know, you get one act for possession, and then you're going to get another act because
For
it was distribution.
So that's 2. No?
That's 2.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is that his stuff is just overt acts that he
Of course.
did in the commission of
Because it's all related to the, what was her name? The prostitute.
Stormy
porn star,
Daniels.
Stormy Daniels, where he had all
Hush
these
money.
different general ledger on his profit balance sheets and all that. So if they saw the same thing 34 times, they convicted him 34 times, which is basically it's bullshit. And yours was bullshit according to you, right? That's how you were able to get out before you had to do life.
well, I never said my case was bullshit.
No, as
I
far
mean-
as the 3
I mean, the
strikes,
system-
No. The 3 strikes were
the
bullshit.
3 strikes. Not,
Well, they charged me wrong.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
technically, it was bullshit.
partially. No.
Bullshit meaning if they charge you and there was no case, like a guy that I met in Cleveland the other day, his friend killed somebody, and because the guy wouldn't tell on his friend, they gave him the case. That would be bullshit.
No. No.
Bullshit meaning, let's say they catch me here in Glendale, right? But then there's distribution in Pasadena and then San Diego, and they attach me to all those cases. Had nothing to do with me. I just happen to be a guy who deals in Glendale, but they're like, oh, well, for example, oh, you drive a so-and-so car, and so does the guy in Pasadena and San Diego, so you're connected. Now,
Well, those would be if there was no connection, then those would be bullshit cases, which they would have to show some type of connection.
that's what these 34 convictions are. If you read into it, that's what it is.
Yeah,
It's-
I never
it's-
read the case.
yeah,
I never read the case. I didn't know what the case was for. Stormy Daniels, hush money, and I do believe that he did give hush money to Stormy Daniels.
Every
Yeah,
politician
every
does.
politician does.
Probably so, but
You
he-
know, Congress has a hush money fund, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he didn't admit it. He should have just admitted that he did it.
So it's safe to say you're not voting for him.
Oh, absolutely not.
You're voting for
I
Harris.
think that he would I think that he would make the country an embarrassment I thought when he was president of the country, it was the laughing stock of the whole world. I mean, every day it was something that he would say on TV or.
So you were watching the news.
Yeah, I watch the news.
See, do you believe we talked about this just a little while ago? Do you believe everything on
Not
the news?
everything I see on the news.
So I
But
mean,
if I hear you say something out your mouth, then I believe that.
like, let me ask you a question. Did you for the past 3.5 years, we've seen the cost of living go up, everything become more expensive. What are your? I mean, were you living
I
better?
don't care about the cost of living. I don't care about gasoline.
No, but I mean, in seriousness, I mean, did you live better these past 3.5 years, or did you live better during the Trump administration?
I live the same way no matter who's in the White House. If somebody got money in this country, when I was in jail,
Mm-hmm.
I said, if anybody in jail got money, I'm going to have some. And I don't care who's the president. I don't care who the warden is. I'm going to get me some of that money. Simple as that. So him being the president, her being the president, has nothing to do with how I live or how my kids live. My kids are going to play tennis as long as they don't, just go and start rounding up black people and throwing them in prison, putting us in a concentration camp. I'm going to do well.
Yeah. You're basically, I mean, in essence, you're not even involved in politics at all.
A little bit, I pay attention. I mean, I tell politicians what to do sometimes.
Oh, the local politicians.
Yeah, the local ones.
Oh, I see.
I fought to get the marijuana bill. I spoke up on the not letting the convicted felons work in the marijuana industry, and also on not letting convicted felons have a marijuana license.
Yeah, and
that's how I got my license. I'm a
which
legal marijuana dealer,
which is great, man. See, marijuana, in my opinion, I think Armand could vouch for this. So can Joe. But all it is it's a plant. It's
what you think about Donald Trump saying about the people eating the dogs and the cats? Did you hear that?
That was kind of
that was silly.
That was silly. It was silly.
But to say we were the laughing stock for 4 years, I want to.
What you think about him taking over the White House?
Well, I want to be the laughing
with the mob.
Well, I want to be the laughing stock of the world and have nobody killed in wars, unnecessary wars. You
can't avoid the wars. They're going to happen.
Well, we avoided it for 4 years under his administration.
Did we have any war? And did we start any new wars anywhere in the world?
The war was going on over in Afghanistan.
No, I said any new wars.
New wars.
Zero, right? The moment he left office, you got Russia and Ukraine. You've got Palestine and Israel. Got who knows, maybe China and Taiwan.
But you can't bring that on the president of the United States.
No,
I don't think you can bring that on the president.
See, like we stepped foot in North Korea. No other country, no other president, no other world leader had ever stepped foot in North Korea. This man stepped foot in North Korea. He sat down with Palestine and Israel.
Yeah, but he kisses their ass though. He kissed.
It's politics.
He kissed Ma Ying and Putin's. I mean, he jacked Putin off. I mean, like, damn.
Look, you know what it is? It's politics at the end of the day as well. I get it.
Well,
and
hold on. When did he jack Putin off? I'm curious.
Well, technically he didn't, because when you look at some of the meetings that they had, in my opinion, I think Putin's terrified of him.
No, Putin loves him.
But he's terrified of him.
No. Putin ain't terrified of nobody.
Have you seen the body language when Trump goes to meetings with Putin, how he pulls him in as well? When they shake hands? No other president has ever done that to Putin. That. Yeah, no other president has done that to Putin.
But he talks so great about Putin. He called Putin a great guy.
That's diplomacy. You should. I'll send you a clip. It's a very short clip of this when he was sitting down with the one of the Taliban leaders. He said, "Listen, if one hair goes missing from an American soldier, here's a satellite image of your home. You think about what I can do to you." And he walks off.
Well, he said, "Why are you showing me a picture of my home?"
Yeah. I mean,
It's basically telling them that don't mess with our American soldiers.
you think Biden would ever do something like that? Well, maybe he would leave $85 billion worth of military equipment, but
In Afghanistan.
would you ever leave 85 billion worth of drugs somewhere? Sorry, guys.
No, I wouldn't.
We got to run out, you know.
I wouldn't.
You know what I mean? So forget about media. You just have to look at the fact that, like he said, the body language uh, when he walks into these G7 summits and where all the prime ministers and the presidents of the world are there, these guys all just stand up and they're like, "Oh shit, he's here." When Biden walks in, it's like a little chihuahua just walking in there. These guys don't even acknowledge he's there, and he's the CEO of the most powerful country in the world.
Well, there was the trip to Saudi Arabia as well. When Trump went to Saudi Arabia, they greeted him with like this massive party. And the Saudis were like, "Hey, we're here to make a deal." They made that steel and oil deal, natural gas deal. When Biden showed up, the prince didn't even bother to greet him. I mean, it's just different when you got a leader, you want him to lead. I don't know, man. With the Biden administration, everything just went sour. We even, prior to you getting here, we brought up some fact checks during the debate about unemployment and all this other stuff going on. It's been a shit show for the past 3.5 years.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't see it.
Like, for example, with unemployment, right? We were talking about it, prior to you getting here. How can you say that you've brought back X amount of jobs after COVID when COVID was the reason the people lost their jobs?
Correct. I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
I can agree with that.
So but there's a lot of people, see, you could agree with it, but there's a lot of people that are brainwashed by it and they go, "Oh yeah, they did bring back the jobs. They're doing good for
Well,
America."
I mean, in actuality, the jobs came back on his term. So he could actually say that he did bring back the jobs on his term.
As far as who, Biden or Trump?
Biden could say that. If the jobs was lost during COVID, which they were, we both agree to that, but they came back on Biden's term, he could claim that he brought back the jobs.
Correct. But he's still negative 20%. He says 80% of the jobs came back. You know what I mean?
I don't know the numbers, but I'm just saying that he could say that he brought back the jobs.
It's politics. You know what I mean?
I'm just a logical thinker.
Yeah.
That's all I do is think logic and facts. I don't go with hocus pocus. If you hocus pocus me one time, then you just hocus pocus me, and you have to prove to me that what you're saying is factual.
Yeah.
You can't come up and tell me that people were eating dogs and then say, "Oh, I was just bullshitting." No, you a bullshit motherfucker. With everything you say for me, that they're on it, because I don't have time to play. I probably got like 15 more years on this planet, and I ain't got time to be playing no games or listening to nobody playing games. I mean, I'm straightforward.
Then you better hope Harris don't go into office, because you know what she's done to even marijuana offenders, right? A lot of people in California who are doing time for marijuana is because of her.
Sure, she wants to keep it
Probably
as
so.
Yeah, she wants to keep it as a Schedule 1.
Probably so.
And you being in that
I'm
industry,
I'm not sure.
think...
She was a
Prosecutor.
She's a prosecutor. No, the what's her name? Attorney General, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's her job, to lock motherfuckers up.
Yeah.
See,
but I don't get it twisted about your job. Now you go back to the 5 people that was accused, the 5 black kids that was accused of raping somebody in Central Park. Trump took out a front page ad and said, "Give them the death penalty," and the kids was innocent.
I don't remember seeing.
Yeah. When was this?
The 5. It's 5 guys. 5 guys that got accused of raping and beating up a white woman in Central Park, and he took an ad out and said, "Give him the death penalty."
How long ago was this? Was it during his presidency?
No. It was before his presidency.
Oh, okay.
I'm curious. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, definitely.
But I agree with the whole logical thing. That's how I look at things too, because I don't understand
So
policy.
you agree, if somebody bullshit you one time, then every time they talk, you got to make sure they ain't
when
bullshit.
a politician speaks, they're bullshitting. That's it. That's how I look at it. But here's what I look at, because I know anybody that's up there claiming, "Oh, here, this is the policy." Nobody read that policy. The writer didn't even read that policy. Nobody cares about the policies. What I look at is if you're trying to put somebody who's running for office into prison, and then you're attempting to assassinate him. Why? When you yourself,
But that guy was a Republican.
who?
They shot him.
No,
No.
Yeah,
he
the guy that
wasn't.
shot him in the ear was a Republican.
that
No, no,
20-year-old kid.
Yeah, the 20-year-old kid he actually donated to the Democratic Party.
He did, but he was a Republican.
He-
Check your facts. Check your facts.
He was. They said he was a registered Republican. But how could you
Exactly.
be a registered Republican when you're donating to the Democratic Party?
Don King voted. He donated to both parties.
Well, if you go back in time, then Donald Trump was a Democrat.
Okay.
He was sitting down with Jesse Jackson.
But Democrat and Republican to me don't matter.
No, I know, of course.
What matters to me is can I trust you? Is your word?
Yeah, but when you have Democrats leaving the Democratic Party, RFK, Bobby Kennedy
I
leaving
know,
the
I know
Democratic
Bobby.
Party.
I met Bobby.
Bobby Kennedy leaving the Democratic Party.
If Bobby was running, I probably would vote for Bobby.
100%. If Bobby Kennedy was running against Biden, I guarantee you Bobby Kennedy would have won. I guarantee you Bobby.
I
would've
like
won.
Bobby.
Bobby's a straight shooter.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, from far as I know.
Tulsi Gabbard, veteran, fought for this country. What does she say? I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. There's a lot going on. Again, when a politician opens their mouth,
I'm not Democrat or Republican.
you're an independent.
I'm independent.
As are we.
Same here, bud.
As are
But the
we.
only thing I go by is the little stuff that I see and hear. If I hear you say something, and then either I agree with it or I don't agree with it, and I just one of the things I had already told somebody before they had to ride in Washington. I was like, that guy get in the White House, he ain't coming out.
As far as Trump,
Yeah,
as in what, like he'll become like a dictator?
yeah,
No, man.
of course he would.
Look, the Constitution.
If
is
he get back in there this time, I guarantee you, he's gonna have an army set up to where they won't be able to get him out.
bro, that's a bold statement.
If you call my kid's mom, she'll tell you that I told her when they was doing the election, before he even won, I said, if this guy get in, he's not coming out.
Well, the beauty of this
Because
is
he's one of those guys that what do they call it, a narcissist?
narcissist.
Yeah, when they just believe that everything that it's all about them.
I could see that. Because there is a lot of me, I. But at the same time, it's always America first with him as well.
No, can't be. You can't be me. It's like a basketball player. If he wants the ball, he shoots all the time, and it's just him. It's not about the team.
But I mean, look at how much was done for America in the past. While he was sitting as president, look at how much. Zero wars.
Tax cuts.
Unemployment was at an all-time low. Tax cuts. Everybody was working. People were making money. People were spending money. Dude, it was a great time to live. And then COVID came
Well,
along.
you might be right, but I can't tell.
But-
Because I'm the same way right now. I still make good money.
Very simple thing. He went to NATO. He said, "Listen, guys, you have to pay your fair share. Why is America paying for everybody, for the European Union? Why aren't you guys paying your fair share? If not, we're gonna pull out. Why do we need 800 bases around the world? What the hell are we doing with 800 military bases around the world?
The strongest thing that America has is their army.
Yeah, but we're wasting so much money and resources. This is not. It's not the
free handouts.
Mid 1900s where it's like, okay, I got a military base here. I mean, China.
What other product does America have? What's the best product they got right now? Is their army.
No.
So they lend their army out.
You know what their number one product is?
What is it?
The consumer. If America does not buy from China, if we don't buy from Europe, wherever,
And then they starve.
that's it. They starve. We don't.
No, America starves
No,
too.
No,
we
not
don't.
necessarily. They're as dependent on us as we are to them.
I agree.
The only
I totally agree with
So,
that.
I mean-
but we need them to make the products. They make all the products.
But I mean, prior to them, who were we buying the products? So we can't make it from. We can't buy from Mexico. We can't buy from Taiwan. We can't buy from India.
Mexico probably get most of their material from China.
No, everybody can produce. The only reason why we decided to go to China is because of
Americans don't want to
Greed.
work.
no, it's because of greed. Because we wanted to make more profits.
That's true, but Americans don't want to work.
Well, they did work all through the Industrial Revolution. They
Well, them
worked
was-
when we had
Them, you
manufacturing.
talking about my uncles and my aunties?
No,
and
even
them was different people. Now everybody want to rap.
Look,
they want
I'm-
to rap. They want to sing. They want to dance. They want to be on YouTube.
my family.
They don't want to
moved
go.
here-
They don't want to go out and pick no strawberries.
My family moved here in 1988. When we came here, I remember tools were all made by USA.
Absolutely.
Most
Still are.
most electronics were German, Japanese, and some American. I don't remember seeing anything made in China. And now all of a sudden, everything we're wearing is Chinese. All these equipment we have is Chinese. There's nothing that's made in the US or anywhere else. Why? Because the profit margins on this thing costs them.
Well, they make stuff other places. Indonesia.
Of course they do,
Yeah.
but I mean the masses are again all produced in China. Why? Because of cost. But
Yeah, China. They work cheaper in China.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
And-
sweatshops. You got a bunch of kids basically working their asses off 24 hours a day until they collapse. We've seen those sweatshops online.
I saw them. I
Yeah,
heard about them.
It's sad.
I heard about them.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, I personally was not okay with us dumping all that money to Ukraine. Why? Why is it that the taxpayers here have to deal with the people in Ukraine? And Zelensky saying, "Oh yeah, please, if you can't give us any more money, just give us credit and we'll pay you back." Why? Why should we work our asses off and pay for Zelensky in Ukraine? Why can't they come to terms with each other?
Well, what they thinking is that their thinking is, it's just their thinking is that if they take over Ukraine, then next they're gonna take over Poland,
I get what you mean.
and next they're gonna go to France, and
But why didn't they do that during the Trump administration? Why during the Biden administration?
I don't know.
Or during when Palestine and Israel sat down with Trump in the middle and he made them sign a peace treaty? Those are two countries that are killing each other now. All those poor kids that have become orphans now. Gaza's been destroyed. Why? For what?
But that war been going on forever.
Not to this extent. I mean, you have an entire city that's in ruins now. Again, I'm not saying America's the country of angels. Even during the Bush administration, this is why we talk about us being, center. The Bush administration were Republicans, but look what they did to Baghdad. Baghdad used to be a beautiful place tourists would visit. It was like the central hub of the Middle East. It's in ruins now. Why? Weapons of mass destruction? Okay, where are the weapons of mass destruction? All because of the twin tower. Oh, there was an attack on America, 9/11. And again, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but 9/11 takes place. We go into Afghanistan. We go into Iraq. We go and destroy the Middle East for what? For oil? For poppy? For opium? For what?
There
All-
it is.
and-
More than likely for oil.
and-
million people have died since Trump left office, just between Ukraine and Russia. Million people.
And that's just the number. That's just not even official number.
Imagine that. Plus what he said, the cities have been demolished. Now guess what? BlackRock, which is the largest money manager in the world, they manage 11, 12 trillion dollars. They're bigger than 99% of the countries out there. Has a $400 billion contract to go rebuild Ukraine. It's interesting, huh? You kill a
But they
million.
can't build them until they finish the war.
Yeah, but I mean, look who's involved in it. It's like all of it's like fucking tied into each other.
Because when you say
It's
logical,
like a world war.
see, logically, that's what I think you have to look at because everything else is above our pay grade. But when you realize why are a million innocent people killed for who? For what? I mean, just because They wanted, make Putin look like the bad guy because they were trying to bring Ukraine into NATO, and obviously that's not going to happen because it's like saying, well, all right, Russia's going to come put a military base between Mexico and the U.S. That's never going to be allowed. So why would Russia allow us to have a military base right in Ukraine? He's not going to allow it. But they intentionally did it, created this proxy war. They washed hundreds of billions of dollars via Ukraine, and now they're going to go back and charge another $400 billion to rebuild it. And all these politicians are going to make back end money from all these different deals. That's just the way it works, unfortunately. And at the cost of 1 million innocent people who died for no reason. For what? Because Zelensky, who used to be a clown, is now the president of one of the most resourceful countries in the world. The guy was literally a clown.
He was an actor.
Not only was he an actor, he was a clown, bro. Like he did stupid shit. He was not like an actor. Oh, he's cleanest wood of Ukraine. No, he was a clown.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunately, when you say logically, I think that's how I look at things. Is all the political stuff I don't understand. I'm not, a political scientist, but what I look at is, why are we doing this for? Just like I said, weapons of mass destruction. And then you find out 20 years, oh, that was bullshit. Give it 15 years, you'll find out Ukraine was all bullshit. The Gaza thing was bullshit. All of that was bullshit.
I mean, you go back to even Vietnam, man. Vietnam was all bullshit as well. We lost so many troops in Vietnam as well. For what? To fight communism? Vietnam's still communism, still communist. Nothing's changed. So I mean, it just sucks. I mean, yeah, we talk about America being the greatest country in the world, but when the wrong politicians get into power, the wrong things happen.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's why when we kind of go back and talk about Trump, I get it. You're not a fan of his, but 4 years he sat as president. When you really look back and really soak it in and digest what was going on compared to what was happening maybe during the Obama administration, maybe during the Bush administration, or even this Biden administration, you realize that, oh shit, bro, like it wasn't that bad. Yeah, I'll take some mean tweets over some cheaper gas prices. I'll take some mean tweets and some bullshit that comes out of his mouth for less people sacrificed and less soldiers sacrificed overseas. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, I don't see how he stopped that. I don't give him the credit for that.
Would you maybe say it's his administration? Maybe.
No.
I mean, then what else would it be?
It just wasn't nothing happening. It was times that there wasn't no wars going on before that.
But see, when you look back at Obama during presidency, see, I voted for Obama because he was a great speaker. We were like, you know what, we want change. Get this Bush administration out because we're like, no, we don't want this shit no more.
I didn't see nothing special that happened with Obama when he was in there.
Yeah, nothing. Well, with Obama, you had the war in Yemen. You had all these other wars go on as well. And then you look back and you're like, dude, all these motherfuckers are warmongering pieces of shit. All they want is to send troops over and just destroy countries. I mean, that's what it looks like every single time you look at it. Every single president, from Bush Senior to Clinton to Bush Jr., all of them, man. I think the only one that was actually normal was probably Ronald Reagan. And
Reagan had the Nicaraguan war.
Well, did he have the Nicaraguan war?
Yeah, he was a Contra.
Well, yeah, there was the Contra war. Yeah,
he was a Contra. Him and George Bush Sr. was Contras. They said,
yeah, because it was the Bush.
You can pull that up. They both said they were Contras.
So speaking of Contras, if you were president or if you had the power, would you make drugs legal?
I think it wouldn't hurt.
Because you were also involved. You said some prostitution, right, and pimping and all that, or no?
Everything happened in my neighborhood.
So, do you think prostitution, drugs, and all these things should be legal, based on the experiences you've had throughout your life?
Them being illegal has not stopped them.
I agree. That's what I'm asking.
So,
Because I don't see
so
the
whether you make it legal or illegal, it's going on. It would be better if you treat it. You know, I'm one of the people who believe that an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. So I would be more of trying to prevent a problem than trying to fix the problem.
You and I have spoke about this in the past, where you were like, make prostitution legal but regulate it, make drugs legal but regulate it,
And
tax it.
prostitution is the oldest business known to man.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely. But
because there's nobody that's looking for a prostitute or that can't find one. There's nobody that's looking for drugs that can't find one. There's nobody that's looking for black market weapons, gun, whatever they can't find. I mean, it's obviously available. So why not legalize everything? You can tax them a little bit higher, and you're not going to have hundreds of thousands of people doing life in prison because they had, 2 pounds of marijuana in their car, or they were caught in the night.
I can agree with that.
It's ridiculous. There's so many other people that should. I mean, we're releasing prisoners now because we're overpopulated, but then we got so many young kids who are now adults doing 25, 30, 40 years in prison because of some stupid drug charge.
Yeah, they make rape. They let out rapists and murderers
Yeah.
and lock up drug dealers.
yeah,
And what's messed up is we all know that the government's involved regardless. They bring the drugs into this country, they bring the prostitute. I mean, everything, their hands are involved in everything. It's not like they're trying to prevent this from happening. At least legalize it. You'll still make your cut, right? You'll still tax them, you'll make your cut. But people won't have to do time for no stupid crimes.
But that's the people got to get more sensible, because the politicians supposed to work for the people, not the people listening to the politicians.
Well, Reagan had a good quote about that. What was it?
no, it's Kennedy. Ask not what your country could do for you, as for what you can do for your country.
No, that's not what he's referring to. Reagan had a quote about big government, where people need to realize they are more powerful than the government. And if the government knocks on your door and says, "I'm here to help you," don't believe that shit if it's coming from the government. They're not here to help you.
But you should be able to believe it.
You're what?
You should be able to believe that, because that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's supposed to be.
Here's the quote. So government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. That's one of his quotes.
Real talk. That's what I go by.
So other than the bar.
Sorry, one more thing. Second quote. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
You see, that's the one I was referring to.
Those are the 9 most terrifying words. But Reagan was a great speaker, though, man. I mean, he was an actor, but he was
an actor, of
he was
course.
a great speaker, though.
So as for other than the bar soaps and this, what else are you working on? You said bar soaps. You've got the
You got your own line of cannabis,
deodorants
right?
and-
I got my
You
line
know,
of cannabis.
you grow on it, or you have a dispensary?
I got a
there?
dispensary right down the street from here. You guys
Down
gotta
the
stop
street
by
from here?
sometime. Yeah.
Here?
I'm in Sun Valley.
No shit. So you're
Yeah.
close by.
I'm close by, man.
See,
Come by and visit.
See, marijuana saved the state of Colorado. Colorado was basically dead broke. They legalized marijuana, they taxed it, and they saved the state.
California make a lot of money off marijuana too. They taxing the shit out of us. They killing us on the taxes.
Yeah, but at the same time, now you don't have to worry about it being illegal. I mean, it's still a Schedule 1 drug, which freaking
No, they
blows.
changed it.
Have they changed
they
it?
changed
When did
it.
they change it?
They changed it a couple months back.
Oh damn! See, I didn't even know that because
Yeah.
I was blown away by how marijuana could still be a Schedule 1 drug when it's legal in the state of California.
It's legal in
No,
35
states. Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, so it's pretty legal around the world, around the country.
So you got a dispensary going on.
Yeah, I got the dispensary. I got the T-shirts. I got 3 books that I wrote. I'm doing the speaking engagements, boxing. I signed 3 national champs this year for boxers. I'm just about to sign the Korean champ, the 147 Korean champ.
So how are you involved? Are you managing it, or you just?
Yeah, I manage it.
No
I
shit.
manage boxers. Yeah, I'm starting my own app that's gonna be a TV network. Gonna be like a Netflix. What else? I just built my first website. It's gonna be like it's the knockoff of Amazon. I'm knocking off Amazon. I guess that's it. Oh, I sell cars too.
You sell cars too.
Yeah, I sell cars too.
You have a dealership or just offhand?
Yeah, we
kind
got
of
a dealer.
secondhand.
We got a dealership. My partner has a dealer. My partner has a dealer license.
So how was it when you initially walked in? You said, "I need to make money." Yet it seems like you're involved in so many different ventures.
Yeah, but I ain't making $1 million a day.
Neither am I.
And that's what I want. I want $1 million a day.
$1 million a day.
That's what I'm shooting for. I keep taking the money and put it on a hook, and I take the pole and I cast it back out. And then, this one wasn't big enough. You know how they go fishing and they get the little fish and they be like, oh, he's too little. Throw him back.
What would you do with $1 million a day?
I would help with the homeless problem that we have in downtown and around the country. I think I would build some job development centers. Just basically educate the people. Some drug rehab programs.
Do you think the homeless crisis is a drug issue, or do you think it's a mental health issue, or do you think it's a housing issue?
All of them. All the above. All the above. Mental health. You know, if you go down, you'll see some of the people that are having mental problems. Soap and drug market as well. And it's a shortage of houses.
When you go,
Especially here in California, rent is
when
crazy.
when you go down to California, when you go down to like downtown LA, especially when you go to Skid Row, I mean, I wish I could say it's a housing issue. I think it's more mental health and drug abuse. There's a lot of people that are struggling out there that have gotten into the wrong crowds and are abusing drugs.
Yeah, but you got to have a good credit score to get up. If you had the money, you still got to have a credit score.
But do you think it's the people that are getting into the wrong crowds and just spiraling down
Yes.
into a black hole?
I agree with that. Yes. But you also have a housing problem, because when there's plenty of houses, then the landlords will just let anybody in with some money.
Well, see, there are states who are more lenient on that, and I think one of the reasons why they are not in California, they're so stringent about the credit report, is because it's almost impossible to evict anybody here. Whereas in some other states, 3 weeks you kick them out. That's it. Here, you can pretty much have a what do you call them, transient, right, or squatters,
Yeah.
come and live in one of your vacant properties, and you can't kick them out. They
Yeah.
pretty much own your
No,
property.
it becomes difficult to kick them out. At
It's
that
called
point.
squatters' rights.
Yeah,
But they got that all over.
Yeah, it's become a little bit more difficult to kick them out, especially if there's somebody elderly or if there's somebody under the age of 18 as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, squatters' rights.
Yeah, but see, Arizona doesn't have that. Arizona, it's 3 weeks, and boom, they're out. No sheriffs, none of this bullshit about got to take them to court, got to get sheriffs involved, you got to get the president involved. In some of these other states, it's literally you don't pay your rent, I can kick you out.
But they could be kicking out the wrong people, though.
Well, no. I mean, you're
What
not.
if the landlord hasn't been taking care of his place? What if he's a slum lord?
oh yeah, no, of course, it goes both ways.
Yeah, that's different.
It goes
I
both
mean,
ways.
Yeah, so it's I used to own apartments and rent them out. And
Yeah,
I,
you
and
got
I
to
knew,
as a
and
landlord.
I knew slum
Yeah,
lords.
as a landlord or a home provider, as you're supposed to call it nowadays, you can't
home
even call it.
provider.
Yeah, you can't call it landlord anymore. As a home provider, you need to make sure the property is habitable.
Yeah,
Running water, you have to make sure there's a heater. You have to make sure the roof is not collapsing on them. You can't just have a property that's uninhabitable, throw somebody in there and expect them to pay the rent. No, it doesn't work that way. It's a two-way street. But at the same time, if you're dumping money into a property and you're making it habitable, but somebody's coming in and taking advantage of the system and not paying you rent,
But we don't want nobody to take advantage of nobody.
Yeah, I know. But
we want everybody to play fair.
Absolutely. But it doesn't look. In every society, you have the good and you have the bad, and the good and the bad, whether you're a home provider or you're a tenant, you can't get away from it. You're gonna have shitty home providers and you're gonna have shitty tenants. And sometimes when both of them meet, it's a recipe for disaster. I wish we could live in the perfect world where, everybody gets along, but
Can't we all just get along, huh?
yeah, it's unfortunate that, every society has its shitty people, but what can you do?
I'm just a lover of the people, man. I just love the people.
100%. You have to.
Yeah.
You should eventually run for
office. And I think
office.
it's some greedy motherfuckers in the world, who don't share, who don't give a fuck about everybody else. They just grab all the money just so they can say, "Oh, I got $10 billion. I got $100 billion."
Yeah.
So what?
See, they say money changes people, but I don't think money changes people. I think money brings out who you really are. And it's unfortunate that some people, when they see a certain dollar amount, they become just this evil person. And they don't understand that, you can take, but give some back.
Absolutely.
Help the people around you. There's so many people that are struggling, especially after having kids, man. Armand and I, we both have kids. I got a daughter and son. He's got two
How old?
boys. I got a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old who's a monster.
Are you brand new?
Yeah, I'm
Brand new.
practically brand new. Well, I'm only 37 years old.
Are you young, man?
Yeah,
I'm
so-
twice your age.
So you don't
Or-
look it.
No?
No, he doesn't look it.
How old are you?
65.
Wow.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah.
You look good for your age.
I'm trying to live a long time.
For a man who hasn't stressed out too much in life, you look great.
No, I did a lot of stressing. Believe
But
me.
see, when you have children, certain things hit you differently. Like, I'll be watching as simple as a movie. I know the movie's not real; it's a fictional movie. But when you see a child struggling in that movie, all of a sudden you're like, dude, if I was watching this movie 10 years ago when I had no kids, I wouldn't get choked up. Now you watch it, you're just like, oh man, that one hurt a little bit. And then when you see it in real life, you're just like, shit, man, what can I do to help? Why does this kid have to live like this? It's just different. But there's people that are wired differently. There's people that are wired in a way where they don't give a shit about anybody.
No, I got mine, you get yours.
Yes.
I used to be like that too when I sold dope.
Really?
Yeah, that's how.
What changed you though?
I mean, if you can sell dope, you don't give a fuck. Dope dealer, you don't give a fuck.
When was your aha moment?
Well, mine was more out of ignorance. I was ignorant enough to believe that selling dope was a benefit to the people. When I first started, everybody would come to get some dope, be like, "Oh yeah, we partying tonight. It's gonna be on and popping." So that would make you feel, as a young man who doesn't know anything about addiction or drugs, you would believe now that you are actually giving them a service
Shit.
that they appreciate. Right? But then later on, you look at them and you be like, fuck, that same guy that used to be driving the Cadillac, had the pretty woman. Now look at her hair. She doesn't comb her hair no more. She ain't took a bath and look like 3 or 4 weeks. And him, that suit, he's been wearing that same tailor-made suit for 3 years.
Because they're spending their money on the wrong shit.
He quit his job. Remember he had that great job?
Fuck, see?
He quit.
See, when did you snap out of that, Rick?
When I started seeing all that.
So it was in the process of all this.
Yeah. Yeah, take a process.
So it wasn't overnight.
Oh, no. Crack didn't reveal itself overnight. It didn't just all of a sudden, bam, and it was crackheads everywhere. It didn't happen like that.
So did it take a toll on you mentally?
Not really. Not really. I could still justify why I did it.
Because I could only imagine seeing something like that take place, seeing what your neighborhood was before, and then seeing what it's become, and then kind of possibly, maybe blaming yourself for it,
Yeah,
and then going like
you take
snap and
you
snap.
take some responsibility. But then you also got to remember that you didn't put a gun in nobody's head and tell them to use drugs.
They did it to themselves.
They did it to themselves, so they have to take some responsibility for their actions as well.
Do you think that's what's happened to society a lot? People are lacking taking responsibility for themselves, whether it's through drugs, whether it's through a job, whether it's through
And-
education.
And we lose focus really fast,
Well, it's a lack of discipline, isn't it?
lack of discipline.
Because you could be motivated. You could be motivated to do X and Y and do this and do that.
But they all do it on New Year's.
The first 2 days, when you see the gym opens up on New Year's from January 1st to January 5th, the gym is packed. After
People be
January
saying,
5th,
I'm gonna get in shape.
that's it. And then after January 5th, gym's empty.
You know, my tennis coach used to tell me, when you find out you're going down the wrong path, you change immediately. Don't keep driving 400 miles and then be like, man, I'm going the wrong way.
See,
And you
like,
just keep going.
see, with your daughter and your son, you were talking about your daughter playing, like being phenomenal at tennis, right?
Yeah.
What's your relationship with your daughter right now to keep her disciplined and keep her motivated to continue on with tennis?
That's your job. That's your chore. See, my goal with her is that my ambition and my wish is that she's going to be so good at tennis that she may not want to play. But she'll be like, oh, I need a check.
Oh. Well, you know what you can do? See, one of the greatest tennis players to ever play the game were the Venus sisters.
Yep.
I think that should be one of the motivations for her. Look what you could
No,
become.
you can't tell her that.
Why not?
She don't want to be like Serena or Venus. No,
Why?
I don't know. She just don't say I'm like them.
Or not like them, but why not better than them?
It's tough. Tough to be better than Serena was.
Hey man, there's always
But she-
somebody. There's
she don't
always
have to-
somebody that
They
just.
don't have to be. You know, I just wanted to be able to make money to take care of herself.
All right, let's do this. Forget about being greater than them. Look what they've achieved. Look what they've built for their
Oh
family.
no, I wish that was her goal, but I can't tell her what to wish for herself. You know, I can only hope that my kids are in a position to where they can take care of themselves and that they want to take care of themselves. You know, they don't want to be on welfare. That they don't want
to rely on the government.
exactly. There you go. Like I had to do when I was growing up. I was a government. You know, I was a government baby. We ate government cheese, that hard cheese, and putting on some crackers.
The shit that doesn't melt.
The government orange
Yes.
juice, the frozen one you mixed with water too.
Oh my god,
Diluted.
it's crazy, man. It's like when you rely on the government, you're not able to grow. You're not able to break.
rely on
You're not able
yourself,
to break
man.
through that glass ceiling.
I told you what they told me when I was in jail. Don't rely on that lawyer.
Was it a public defendant that was representing you?
Mm-mm, I had a hard lawyer.
So you hired somebody, right? Okay, I just wanted to make sure because when you said that, I'm like,
One of
wait a
the top
minute, wait a
lawyers-
minute.
One of the top lawyers around. He was good.
All right, good. Because when you said
But
that,
my man said, don't rely on him. Don't put your faith in him. He got kids. He got other clients. He got a wife.
see, that's what confuses me is the fact that my motivation and Armand's motivation is our wife and kids, our family, to provide for them. So you do your job and you get paid and you provide that service in order to continue to do what you're doing
Yeah, that's what he said.
and get the good word out.
And he said that.
So
But what
picture
he
this.
said though is that you're not going to put your job in front of your wife and your kids.
And it's
No.
you're here to represent me. You're here to for my
No,
best
but I'm saying you're
interest.
not going to put that in front of your kids and your wife.
Oh, as in him.
Right. The lawyer's not going to put that in front of his kids and his wife, his job.
Yeah, but
Very few
Yeah.
people will do that.
yeah, but him representing you. See, it just I can't. My brain doesn't process that. If
You don't get that. You don't
it-
get that.
because picture this: imagine you're defending, Rick Ross, and you get Rick Ross a not guilty verdict.
Great.
your name, your reputation skyrockets. This man is well connected. He knows a lot of people. God forbid something were to happen. Guess who Rick's going to refer as an attorney?
What you're saying is absolutely correct. But what I'm saying is that you're not going to do that. You're not going to accomplish that goal if it might cost you your wife and your kids.
I just can't believe it.
Huh?
I
You don't understand
I
that?
don't understand it.
Okay. In order for you to do your job, you do your job, your wife going to leave you, take your kids to another state, and you're not going to get to see your kids for who knows how long.
I'd rather not do the job then. Go
Okay.
hire somebody else.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I
That
mean?
you're not going to put your job in front of your wife and your kids. They come first. When I was doing my case, I put my case in front of your wife and your kids and all your other clients.
But if he was the right attorney, he would say, "Listen, this is my priority. I can't represent you."
Well, no, it was a priority, but he had it prioritized. See, with me, I've had mine prioritized. Mine was more valuable than his job. It was more valuable than his wife. It was more valuable than his kids for me to win my case.
I mean, you had a case. Your attorney didn't even show up. You had to represent yourself.
I know I did.
So why are you so shocked?
My attorney was a moron. I had a case 2 years ago. I ended up in the courthouse on Temple. I had a property in Sun Valley. They were growing marijuana illegally. So I told the guys, I go, bro, you guys are growing the cowboy. I need you out of here. So by the time they packed up and left, I got served by the city attorney telling me to show up to court. And I was like, oh, God damn. And then the property's under a corporation, so I can't even represent it. I got to hire an attorney. I hire an attorney. The guy shows up the first day. We get another hearing. And then this guy goes MIA. He doesn't even show up anymore, to the point where I went to the courthouse. And thankfully, the judge was a great judge. She looks at me. She goes, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I can't get hold of the attorney." She goes, "What do you mean you can't get a hold of the attorney?" I'm like, "I've called him, I've emailed him, I've texted him. Can't get a hold of him." She turns around to the clerk and she says, "Call up the attorney." In court. Calls, doesn't answer, turns around, she goes, "Well, I'm sorry you're going through this, but what do you got to say?" And obviously, not to make I don't want to bring up the long story, but I pled the case to her, and she was just like, "All right, do X, Y, Z, and we'll let you go." Well, not let me go, as in they're going to take me to jail, but we'll drop the case. So I could kind of relate to it, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I was saying.
But that jackass got disbarred.
He should have.
Yeah.
Bad attorneys.
Oh, geez. Rick, is there anything we missed with you?
Man, you guys been all over the place, man. Politics. I usually don't talk politics either, but
We don't either.
yeah, we did it.
Once a week.
Once a week?
Every Monday. Between the hours of like 10 to 11.
Yeah.
That's the only time we talk politics.
Yeah. Well, it was enjoyable. We talked about some interesting things, I believe, and good luck to Trump.
But we're hoping we kind of opened your eyes a little bit to it.
You didn't change my point of view.
No.
You know what they say when people got their mind made up, they got the ones that's in between and so forth.
Because you're still in the middle right now. You're an independent. Are you again? You don't have to answer this.
But if it was any other Republican other than Trump,
you'd vote.
I probably would vote for him.
So you're saying you're not going to vote for Harris?
No, I'm going to vote for her.
You're going to vote for her?
Yeah, because I don't want Trump to win.
So you're voting against Trump rather than for Harris?
Correct.
Why?
We've been through that already. We're not going to go through that no more. It's late.
Maybe come January, huh? Will you join us again in January?
Yeah, I'll join you again in January.
All right, Rick. We appreciate you taking time out of your Monday to be with us, man. We really do. Everybody, today's podcast will be up and running on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all major platforms mañana. We thank you for bearing with us between the hours of 8 and 9 until Rick joined us. He was stuck in traffic and took time for him to get here.
We're stuck on the freeway.
Yeah, we're gonna blame the government for not having better freeways.
Yeah, fucking Caltrans and your bullshit, taking our tax dollars and not doing shit. Guys, have a great week. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys all next Monday.
Peace.